How safe are your vinyl records? Are you sure you're storing them correctly? And do you know if those inner and outer sleeves are protecting or destroying them? I'm Andrew from Parlogram, and in this video, I'll tell you all you need to know about the right way to protect your vinyl collection and show you exactly which materials are safe and which are not. If you collect vinyl records, you can't afford to ignore this video. Six months ago on this channel, we made a video about how these destroy vinyl records. It's a protective album cover made from polyvinyl chloride, better known as PVC. These heavy-duty covers may make your albums look glossy and beautiful, but the fact is that they can and probably will ruin your records. You'll find them everywhere, especially on older collections and even on some audiophile pressings, such as this 1999 reissue of ELO's Out of the Blue album, which was made by a company called Simply Vinyl. It was just one of hundreds of titles issued on that label between 1997 and 2010, all of which were housed in these PVC wallet covers. Now, PVC is an incredibly versatile thermoplastic, which is made up of 57% chlorine and 43% carbon. And in order to change it from this to this, you need to add plasticizers. And whilst they make the PVC flexible, they also make it very unstable when exposed to heat. Now, when it comes to storing vinyl, the most important element is environment. And by storing your vinyl inside these PVC covers in a hot environment, you're asking for trouble. Once PVC gets to a temperature of around 60 degrees or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, it starts to distort, and many of these PVC covers will start to display a rippling effect. And as that temperature increases, it begins a process called offgassing. This is when the heat releases a chemical vapor inside the PVC, which can leach through the album's cover and react with the surface of your vinyl record, resulting in irreparable damage in the form of this cloudy or mottled pattern, which is impossible to remove, even with the magical properties of isopropanol. Now, of course, not all records stored in these PVC covers will be affected by off-gassing. If they've been stored in a temperature-stable environment, which isn't too hot, you may have gotten away with it. For now. It's not a process which happens overnight. It can take, say, 8 to 10 years before you notice the fogging effect, which of course by then is too late. Now, if you're not sure your covers are made from PVC, the best thing to do is smell them. If they smell like fresh paint, then that's the signal for you to get rid of them right now. Before I tell you what I recommend replacing those with, let's take a step back and look at another important element in vinyl storage: inner sleeves. Like tires on a car, which are its only point of contact with the road, inner sleeves are the only components which are in direct contact with vinyl. Now, you wouldn't drive your car with bad tires, so why should you use bad inner sleeves to house your vinyl? Back in the late 1950s and early 1960s, most UK record company inner sleeves looked like this and had a clear polythene lining. Now, this was substituted in around 1964 with a cheaper type of rice paper lining. Now, although they were fairly safe, they were pretty rough and caused a lot of micro-scratching on the vinyl. Polylined inner sleeves came back into fashion in the late 1960s and early 1970s and were mainly used by companies such as Polydor and Decca. But although well-intentioned, these linings had a tendency to stick to the vinyl over time and produce a similar mottling effect on the playing surfaces, which sometimes came off if you were lucky. EMI, meanwhile, gave up lining theirs in 1966, deciding that their best use was as a commercial for their own products. Paper, of course, was the cheapest option and was plastic-free, so they're pretty safe, right? Wrong. Now, paper has one major disadvantage. It's hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs water. Leave your records in a garage or a basement for a couple of years, and I guarantee that one of the things you'll see on the surface of any record stored there in a paper inner sleeve is mold. Not only does it get onto the playing surfaces, but on the labels too. A good clean might improve it visually, but the damage is done, and the effect on the paper of the label is usually permanent. So what constitutes a good inner sleeve, and what does it need to do? Firstly, it needs to neutralize the buildup of static charge caused by pulling the record out of the sleeve. It also needs to prevent the jacket or dirt from scratching the record. Now, one of the first inner sleeves produced with this criteria in mind were these, which were called VRP, Valuable Record Protectors, and were produced by Diskwasher. Made in Japan, they had an archive acid-free insert and were labelled as being non-scratching, plasticizer protective, and anti-static, and were considered as the gold standard of inner sleeves. But it wasn't long before they were replaced as market leaders by these, similar but slightly thinner, Mobile Fidelity SoundLab inners. Other companies soon joined the market. For example, these E-Stat inners were made from a kind of fabric material. Then you've got these rounded edged inners, which are made from HDPE, high-density polyethylene, and treated with an anti-static agent. These are great if you want to store your discs inside their original inners, such as these black ones, which were used by Apple and are really rough on the playing surfaces. However, they may be a little too thin for heavier discs, such as these 180 gram or 200 gram premium pressings. My current inner sleeves of choice are these, which are made by a German company called Flux. And like the MoFis, they have an archival acid-free backing and anti-static coating, and a good value if you buy them in packs of 50, like this. A cheaper but still decent alternative are these thick paper inner sleeves, which have a fixed anti-static lining. This is the first copy of Sgt. Pepper I ever owned. I remember buying it back in 1979 with the proceeds from a back-breaking weekend of potato picking. Anyway, it still has its original inner, which although isn't made from PVC, is, as you can see, not 100% clear and is rather wrinkled. So what I'm going to do is replace this polythene cover with a picture disc sleeve, which is one of these. And it's made from low-density, transparent, cast polypropylene film called CPP. Looks much better, right? Now, links to these, and indeed all the other products I'm showing in this video, are in the description and are available from a website called protected.de. Protected are based in Germany, and I've trusted them for over 20 years to supply me with all my vinyl care needs. Not just sleeves and covers, but for every aspect of packing too, a separate video about which will be coming up soon. Protected really do have everything you need to take care not just of your LPs and 45s, but your 78s, CDs, and even cassettes too. Understandably, perhaps, they only ship to countries within Europe, which includes the UK. However, similar products, I'm sure, can be easily found in the US and other countries. And if you go to their website, protected.de, you can get a 15% discount by using the code Parlogram-2022. Now, full disclosure, Protected haven't paid me to make this video, but they have kindly supplied me with all the products I'm using in it. Let's now get back to the issue of outer sleeves. Now, I know a lot of people like to store their albums in resealable clear covers, which are sealed at the top by this adhesive strip, which is exposed by peeling off the removable strip, which on the face of it seems like a sensible choice. I mean, even the albums in the Beatles mono box set came inside them, so they must be good, right? Well, yes and no. Having learned the hard way, I won't let these anywhere near my valuable albums, and here's why. Now, I'll demonstrate by using this rather beat-up cover from a 1980s pressing of Revolver, which, as you can see, has some large seam splits and is well past its best. But imagine this is your prize first UK monopressing, which you've had out for a quick drool over and now want to put back inside its protective cover. Then all of a sudden, you drop the clear cover onto the jacket, and just like a piece of peanut butter toast, it falls sticky side down. Now, there's no prizes for guessing what's going to happen when I try to, oh so carefully, separate the cover from the jacket. Yeah, that's not ideal. Another issue with these resealable covers is that they can sometimes trap moisture inside. Also, not ideal. Now, to avoid that disastrous situation, allow me to recommend these. Now, like the resealable covers, these are also made from CPP, but are thicker and don't have the adhesive strip. Instead, they have a closable fold-over flap. There, that's really nice, and no more tears. Or is that tears? A cheaper but just as attractive alternative are these CPP covers without the fold-over flap. They also come in a gatefold format to protect your double albums, which are great for unlaminated covers such as this Beach Boys one. Cheaper and thicker are these HDPE high-density polyethylene sleeves, which like CPP don't contain any plasticizers and therefore won't off-gas and ruin your vinyl. I use these all the time for shipping and for general storage around the office, and I highly recommend them. Another cool thing I found on the protected site are these. They're called Seams Easy, and they're designed to fix jacket seam splits. Now, this issue affects US albums more than it does UK ones, and is of course fixable using various homemade methods. But using these makes things super easy. So here we've got a classic major seam split situation. And all you do is fold the strips along the preformed crease down the center, peel off the backing, and place it in the cover like this. And your seam is fixed, and the album will slide in properly. Now, these are actually made in the US, but are available from the protected website, a link to which is in the description. Now let's have a look at 45s. And once upon a time, I used to store all my 45s in these. Now, these poly-lined card covers with their color-coded strips were great, but they had one disadvantage, and that was that the original singles cover wouldn't fit inside. But then I switched to these, which could hold the cover, but you couldn't see all of it. The ideal solution for me today is to use these Japanese kata sleeves, by first putting the disc in this inner and then putting everything inside this CPP outer cover, like this. Lovely. Now, as I'm not going to become a DJ or take them out of the house, I don't need those heavy-duty covers, plus the fact they look much better in these. Finally, a word about CD storage. Now, I'm in the process of rearranging my workspace here, and recently came across a cupboard full of these, which are CDs that were given away free with magazines, such as Mojo or Uncut, from around 2000 to 2010. Now, I don't really play them, but I can't bring myself to throw them away. So the answer I found is to take them out of their jewel cases and put them inside these small polythene covers. Now, they only take up a fraction of the space they once did and free up some space for some more vinyl. I hope you found this video helpful and that it's given you some ideas about how to safely look after your vinyl. As I said earlier, I'll be making another video soon about packing and shipping vinyl, so please do subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And thank you so much to Protected.de for supplying me with everything in this video. Don't forget you can get a 15% discount from their web store by using the code Parlogram-2022. And also, links for everything you've seen in this video are in the description. I'll be back very soon with some more Beatles-related content. including hopefully a very special unboxing. But in the meantime, do visit our website parallelogramauctions.com for some fabulous sounding Beatles vinyl. But that's all for this one, so I'll say bye for now and thanks for watching.